The Warriors win the game, gutsy win, but Steph Curry leaves with an injury. PTO, everyone. Positive thoughts only as we await the news on today's Locked On Warriors.
Who cares now? Because I'm here, and I would like to think that I am wanted here.
Most importantly, he a dog.
We got 4 championships.
You are Locked On Warriors.
I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Speculation is just what it is, though.
Your team every day.
What is the good word, everyone? Thanks for making Locked On Warriors a part of your day, free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube. We also have a newsletter that is delivered free to you daily. LockedOnDaily.com is how you subscribe to that free newsletter. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. My name's Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game. That's the flagship station of the Golden State Warriors. Also worked at KPIX in the Bay Area. Shout out Pacifica, California, and to everyone in the Bay who continue to watch the Golden State Warriors win game after game. They've started another winning streak, but that takes a backseat today to what happened in the game down the stretch. Specifically, Steph Curry leaving the game. We're going to talk about this injury. We're going to talk about the win, the key performers, everything you need to know Warriors related entering the weekend starts now. Matt Kolsky joins me, formerly of KNBR 95.7 The Game, was a coworker of mine there. So let's just start with the obvious before we really break down this game, and that is that Steph Curry is in pain. Let's put it that way. We don't know a ton aside from that, but he was in serious pain leaving the floor. Pelvic contusion. Glenna Azubuike said, Azubuike on the broadcast said that he had dealt with that in his past. It's a bruise, nothing to panic about long term. But he looked like he was in pain. It sounded loud, and until you get official word that he is good to go, nothing is good, even a win.
Yeah, bone bruises hurt a lot. I have to believe that the fact that they're calling it a pelvic contusion specifically means that they did some x-rays and there's nothing, more serious than that. You don't want to go without Steph Curry for very long, but certainly,
it
nothing
puts the
matters
team's mortality. Yes, it puts the team's mortality into perspective when you see a player of that significance go down. You realize it can happen anytime, anywhere. We will say that now is the best stretch for it to happen at any time, right? When he was already exhausted against some of the worst teams in the NBA coming up. I mean, you can't draw it up any better in that sense, but you also have to win every single game, and you just don't want to be missing number 30 at all.
No, I mean, it also makes tonight a really big win, right? Because
huge.
Minnesota coughed one up to the Pelicans, and obviously when your best player gets hurt, it shakes you up a little bit. I mean, I think we saw the results of that, right? They did not look so good right after he went down, but getting the win puts you a game and a half ahead of the Clippers and T-Wolves, and just 2 games back of the Grizzlies, who are not playing well. So still in good position, still have enough, even without Steph, to win these next, 4 or 5 games. I mean, the way the Grizzlies are playing.
So you're thinking he's out 4 or 5 for a little bit here?
I'm saying I think those are the ones.
Regardless of who's on the floor, you're going to win those games, yes.
Not gonna, but you've got a reasonably good shot at it. You certainly don't want to go to the Lakers without Steph Curry if it can be avoided. But look, I mean, what's the last day of the regular season? Better he comes back April 13th than not at all, right? And I think if we're looking for silver linings in these very dark clouds, you certainly can say a few extra days of rest won't kill the guy. And, again, worst comes to worst, like your floor reasonably, unless things get really terrible, is probably the 8 seed, so you're still going to have double elimination to get into the playoffs at least. I don't know.
Let's not
the
think
great
worst case
hope,
scenario.
obviously. Yeah, look, the great hope is that he's ready on Saturday. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
No.
If it is just a bruise, then it's probably just a matter of pain tolerance. And I think we know Steph's is pretty high. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, it's hard not to think about that. And we have to talk about it off top because everything hangs on that guy in the end.
Yes, and this is live. For those that are listening to the audio podcast, Steve Kerr may have came out. He may come out during this show and say, Steph's good. He'll be back in a game or two. Let's just rest him up and make sure he's fine. So let's get to the game. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Videos sometimes can just tell the entire story of how a game shifts. And the video today, the lasting motion frames for me was Quinten Post getting the crowd up when they needed it, bridging the third and fourth quarter for the second straight game now. The Warriors really went ham, and that's where they took over and made the difference that allowed them to win the game because they were down 7 late in the third quarter, and Curry's already hurt. It's just, it has a disaster in the making, the entire game. It just felt like your typical trap game. Raptors are missing everyone. They've been playing terrible. All of a sudden, they're playing excellent. Warriors are shooting it really well, and they still can't gain any separation. You lose Steph, you're down 7. Oh, my God. What's going on at Chase Center on this Thursday? And at that point, Post gets everyone up. It was just a different Warriors team. Butler came to life. He had a triple-double in the game. Post was sensational. 6 of 10, 6 of 9 from 3, 18 points in the game. Interesting statistic that everyone's going to love. Quinten Post actually has more threes in his first 31 games than Steph did in his first 31 games as an NBA player. So he's got a lot more to go, but to start, he's on the right track, right?
Yeah, I mean, all those Steph stats are skewed because he didn't start as hot as you would imagine. I mean, all the real Warriors fans remember the first couple of years of Steph were in and out of the lineup, ankle injuries, some really promising stuff, but some times where he wasn't as good. So
regardless, Post had 6 threes. That's the moral of the story. And
yeah,
and he was good.
The bigger issue to me is the percentage. I mean, for this guy to step in and consistently from his very first game at the NBA level be clear of 40% from the 3-point line means that teams have to respect him. And Steve Kerr, more than anything, Steve Kerr has used that to shape the floor in ways that benefit the Warriors' drivers when Quinten Post is out there. And it's a thing they have not had, a legitimate stretch big. I mean, they barely had anybody taller than 6'9" anyway, but a legitimate 7-footer who can shoot the ball is a valued commodity in this league. It's a wonder this guy fell as far as he did. But I think he also showed you again tonight, like, I don't know if Quinten Post will ever be a plus defender, but like he fights out there.
Oh yeah.
He blocked a shot tonight. He's doing his best. There's some mistakes. He's a rookie. He's maybe not quite as, he could do some work on the footwork, let's say. But
he's promising.
He's so promising, and he gives them a dimension, not unlike Kuminga in a very different way, right? But what Post brings to the floor is something that only he on the Warriors roster can bring it to the floor, and it's very valuable. It's the same thing with JK in the second quarter tonight. The way he exploded and attacked and just dropped like a dozen points on Toronto in the space of a few minutes, nobody else on the team. I mean, Steph does his own thing, obviously. Don't get me wrong. Other guys can score, but like that particular approach and attack is unique to Jonathan Kuminga. And I think that's why those two guys, even if they don't have a great game overall, or even if they, have a terrible game and, the next time around, they bring value to the court, and they've been incredibly important over the course of the season.
Warriors shoot at 42% from the floor, 40% from 3, 19 of 47. The majority of that damage coming In the first half, it was 22 of 28 from the line. They tally 117 points in the game and turn it over 14 times. So mildly sloppy game.
But they had like 10 or 11 at halftime, I want to say. So that was it was actually
they
a great
cleaned it up.
second half.
They cleaned it up, but they couldn't shoot in the second half. That was the difference. They played better basketball. They played, better defense for the most part, but definitely better defense, but they could not put the ball in the basket. But overall, they shot it pretty well. Raptors shot it really well, played really well. We'll give them 30 seconds of shout-out time. Scotty Barnes is awesome. He had 29, 10, and 6, 18 for Jakob Poeltl. Emmanuel Quickly, really good young point guard out of Kentucky back when I covered him. 21 in the game, the former McDonald's All-American. Jamal Shed from Houston. You know how I'm giving you the little cross-reference right now with March Madness going on. That's my national champion pick, man. 11 points for Shed in the game, and they shot it 42% for the floor, 56% from the floor, 42% from deep. Raptors fought. They were missing tons of contributors. They're not good even with those contributors. And they fought. They played hard. And this is kind of a microcosm of what the Warriors are going to be dealing with down the stretch. It's going to be a lot of teams that they are better than on paper, that they have way more talent than, that they have way more wins than, but they're going to give it everything they have because these are NBA players that have a lot of money on the line. They have a lot to prove. And at the end of the day, they can all play basketball. So you get this one done despite the Raptors playing really well and the air being lifted out of the sails or out of the ball when Curry goes down on the floor and does not return. So overall, if Curry's good to go, then this was a very good night. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at this point, I think we know the ceiling of this team is pretty high in terms of what kind of performance they can give you if it's all clicking and everybody's healthy. So just win. Just win, baby.
That's all we can do. Just win. All right, when we return, let's talk about the Dubs front court. Draymond Green specifically. We'll call Jimmy Butler a front court player, specifically for what he did down the stretch with the big-time stuff. Talking about that and more, and on the road again, plus Brandin Podziemski. That is a tease. Locked on Warriors coming up.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time, and with Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to take your business to the next level. Tell me some more about this. I like what I'm hearing. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Finding the right talent? Yeah, Upwork will make that easy to find a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. It is fast and easy, the hiring. It's free and simple. And typically within a day, multiple qualified candidates will be available to choose from. Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork finds affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork, UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Today's episode is also brought to you by America's #1 sportsbook. It's FanDuel. March Madness is here. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Kolsky, I'm rolling it today, man. Drake money line. That was easy. We went with a little McNeese, a little Will Wade action. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories. And even who's cutting down the nets, pick your favorites, whether it's Purdue and they're minus 210, whatever it may be, and you think they're going to win. Parlay a couple together. You are good to go. It's easy and fast. The app is simple to use, and you get your money instantly with no waiting around. FanDuel.com. Get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Back to the show.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Defensively down the stretch. Now, there were some moments to me that I thought were massive in terms of the Warriors pulling this one out. Quinten Post had a huge three down the stretch. Pod specifically Had a big three after a huge start. You're stopping me. What did I do?
You didn't do anything. Steve Kerr in the post-game press conference said that Steph Curry was asking to come back in the game and had that request turned down because he's headed for an MRI. But it sounds like it's more of a abundance of caution situation. So, I'm not saying he's back on Saturday necessarily, but I do think we're looking at a pretty short-term injury based on what Steve Kerr just said. So that's good news.
That is huge. And that's a great interruption because the vibe of the entire show changes. Let's put a smile on our face and talk
Vibes back up. Let's go.
Pods, man. I'm a big Pods guy. Great first half. Second half went quiet for a bit, but found his three ball at the right time. That was a huge bucket. And then Draymond, a big defensive play. Jimmy Butler, the biggest defensive player of the game. Butler, a triple-double. His numbers, 16, 12, 11, 4 of 15 from the floor. There was legit a moment in the game where I was even wondering if Butler had done anything. I was getting ready to look at the stat sheet. I'm like, how many has Butler scored? Like, how has he affected this game? I looked down and he had a triple-double. I mean, that was the most quiet triple-double you'll ever see, but he made some loud plays late.
He didn't have it tonight from a scoring perspective, and particularly down the stretch, he just was gassed. I mean, you're looking at a guy who took on a bigger load the last two games and, still isn't probably conditioning-wise where he wants to be at this stage of the season. But, again, this is kind of if you want a positive takeaway from a game that had a lot of frustration and probably was closer than you wanted, it's that, I mean, nobody really, other than Quinten Post, nobody really had it tonight, right? Jonathan Kuminga had one good stretch of scoring. Quinten Post knocked down a bunch of threes. But Draymond started hot. Everyone's like, oh, Draymond, he's 4 of 7 from 3. Then he missed 4 or 5 in a row, right? And again, hit a big one late. It's not to rag on these guys, but this was a game where the team was a little ragged. And they still made winning plays. They still did what they had to do to get this done. Moses Moody didn't hit a field goal in the game, but had a huge block on Emmanuel quickly and hit big free throws down the stretch. Draymond, like you said, I mean, he went ice cold in the second half, but big defensive plays in the final 3 minutes. And Jimmy Butler, just when you were starting to feel like, man, he can't get that bucket that they need, comes up with the huge block. So, not to say no complaints, but I think you got to feel okay about a game where the other team played really well. The Warriors did not have their fastball, and they got the job done.
I mean, the only choice that you have right now is to stay in that 6th spot, unless you feel better. And there can be a case made for this, that you feel better about playing the red hot Houston Rockets, who have won 8 in a row at this point. That requires the play-in, but if you said there's no play-in, would you rather play the Lakers or the Rockets? Most people would say the Rockets, right? So there's your catch-22, I guess. But trust me, no one on the Warriors doesn't want that. Everyone on the Warriors wants that rest. No one on the Warriors wants elimination games that early. Let's put it that way. So you just got to win, and bad or not, it's the NBA, man. As a gambler, like, I found out very quickly that teams don't just roll other teams by 20 consistently, right? Like the spreads, they'll be 12.5, whatever, for a reason. You think that a deflated team like the Raptors are just going to get run off the floor, but there's a lot of fight in these teams. They'll hang around and typically not win, but they'll hang around from time to time.
One of the interesting things about a team specifically like the Raptors, I mean, if you go down the guys that they're playing tonight, especially with RJ Barrett and others missing, Barnes and Pirtle and Quickly are sort of your names here, right? But Agbaji, Mobo, Jamison Battle, Colin Castleton, at the very least, those guys are fighting for their careers, And
Castleton did not read the scouting report on Quinten Post to start. He gave him 2 wide open threes. It's like he's hitting 41%, man.
I'll tell you what, Castleton played less than 20 minutes, and it felt like he was out there for 40. So I don't know what he did, but maybe he's doing something right. I'm just saying, like, you're going to get an effort from a team like that, no matter what time of year. You know, those guys care. And I saw Matt Barnes talking about this because of the video where Scalabrini was beating up on some dudes at a park. But it's easy to forget that all these fringe guys are remarkable basketball players, right?
That Scalabrini video is great. The guy's
stuff.
just pushing him. He's just so much bigger than him. The guy on defense, they're in like Rucker Park. He's complaining like, you know, he's fouling me. He's throwing, but no, yeah, you're right.
So that's the thing. You're going to get an effort, and when you're scuffling a little bit, they can stay in it. But if you are who you think you are, then you'll make the plays down the stretch. And that's what Butler and Draymond and Podziemski all did. And Moody, for that matter, even though he didn't hit a field goal all night.
What to fourth quarter down the stretch, what do you attribute most to the Warriors pulling out this game? Is it the timely shots, or was it just the overall defense to you? And I guess we really did bury the lead, because we should be mentioning this about 4 or 5 times. Draymond Green shot 14 3-pointers. I kind of glossed over it. I was like, yeah, he was a big part of the offense today. 14 3-pointers. I would love to know the last time Draymond hoisted 14 in a game. That's a ton.
It's a lot. As Kalena said, he didn't shoot as many as he could have because he was open more than that. I would add, though, that he probably shot more than he should have. You know, this was a game where you hit 4 of his first 7 or 8, and he was like, I'm feeling good. And the next 4 did not look good. And they weren't necessarily bad shots. Like, it's not like Draymond is ever shooting heavily contested threes because he believes in himself, right? They're almost all wide open, but some are more in rhythm than others. And I think he gets a little less selective when he's feeling it, especially when he has a little back and forth with the coach, like he had going on with Darko tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, look, the chat's saying it. You're putting it up on the screen. Like, even with the 14 threes, Draymond's defensive impact is the thing to take away from his performance tonight. And, man, they got him to say it in a press conference now. He's already talked about it on the podcast. Like, there is no doubt that guy wants to win Defensive Player of the Year, and he's attempting to put a case for it on tape every night. And Jimmy Butler makes him even more dangerous in terms of his ability to do more defensively. So watch out, man. I know he's not a favorite now, but there's nobody else playing better defense than Draymond in the league right now.
Yeah, and Jimmy compliments him so nicely since the All-Star break. We mentioned it on yesterday's show. That is the best defensive duo in the NBA, or maybe it was second. The stats, they all run together, but it was up there. Let's put it that way. It's damn good to get the point across. But they love playing with each other, man. Like, they have really, really enjoyed being teammates, and they just complement each other so nice defensively. Because the big thing we've talked about is it's just the fact that they can gamble more when they're both on the floor. You know, one can gamble, the other is the yin, is the backup. And sorry, I lost track there. Kylan walked in and was getting ready to tell me something. I'm like, you don't walk into the studio unless the house is on fire.
Yeah, unless Steve Kerr went back and said, my bad, he actually has a broken back. No in-studio interruptions, please. Yeah, people are talking about MRIs versus X-rays in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and assume they did an X-ray right away. Because, again, I don't think you report contusion if there's a possibility of any kind of fracture. That would be irresponsible. So my suspicion is X-ray is the first thing that happened. Then they're sending him for an MRI to be extra cautious and make sure there's no tissue damage that they missed, right? That to me is what that's about. I think odds are strong that Steph will be back middle of this road trip at the very latest.
Let's get into some Brandin Podziemski, and let's tie a ribbon on this game. Preview what is ahead for the Warriors. A 6-game road trip. 4 more after tonight, you don't want to call anything a cakewalk, but 4 more very winnable games before you get into the meat of the schedule. We're discussing coming up on Locked On Dubs.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day or your busy family, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up late watching Warriors basketball for a long time now, putting stuff on TikTok, whatever it may be, and sometimes I need that extra boost. I don't want one of those big energy drinks. I just want a little 5-hour. On the go. It's convenient. So head to 5hourenergy.com where you will find over 15 flavors, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack, and it's delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. NCAA tournament, we've talked about it. It is here, and here's a preview of what Locked On has going on for this year's March Madness.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
We also really forgot to mention Steph Curry's game in general. He was 6 of 8, very efficient, 2 of 4 from 3, and had 17 points before he left the game in his 25 minutes. Wasn't extremely assertive out there. Definitely seemed like he was just kind of getting back into the swing of things after he missed the game against the Milwaukee Bucks. I was kind of shocked that he played in this game with how depleted the Raptors were entering and just how bad they've been, quite frankly, this season. 8 of 25 on the road before this game. I thought that Steve Kerr would give the non-Steph Curry minutes lineup a little trial run for another game, and no, he put him out there, which shows the importance of these games and proves my theory at the beginning that the Warriors do not want to play the Houston Rockets if that's what a 7 seed entails.
I honestly don't think they care who the first round matchup is. I mean, I'm sure everybody has opinions on, what the best matchup is that they may or may not be sharing with each other. I mean, but I just don't think. Look, certainly you don't want to be in the play-in if you can avoid it. And also, Ja Morant has a hamstring injury that no one's really explaining much about, and Memphis is sliding. The Lakers are still without LeBron, although it does sound like he'll be back in the next couple games, and you'll probably have to see him. But they've had a bunch of other injuries they're dealing with as well. So not only would I say you're absolutely trying to stick in that 6th seed, regardless of who your matchup ends up being, because it might not necessarily be who it is now. It's all still very packed in there. But I would not rule out climbing up. It's not super likely given you're a couple games back of Memphis right now and you've only got 12 games left. But if the Warriors keep winning and Memphis keeps having Ja Morant on the bench, that it doesn't seem impossible at all. So every single game matters, and that's why Steph Curry played tonight, as you say. You want every single win. If you can win out, God bless. I mean, it seems unlikely, but that's certainly the goal. That said, when it comes to a real injury situation, you're going to err on the side of caution with Steph because you'd rather be the 7 seed with a healthy Steph than the 6 seed with a questionably healthy Steph.
Yeah, not a full lineup today. Gary Payton II missed action, meaning that once again, we fully don't know what the rotation is going to look like. Warriors have been going so deep. They go 10 deep in the game today. do not play Trace Jackson Davis. They don't play Gary Payton. Pat Spencer doesn't see any minutes. Santos doesn't score in the game, but he played. Kuminga had 16 off the bench. Post had 18, and then Buddy Hield had 8. Looney had 2 off the bench. So we've gotten through all the stats, except for really Brandin Podziemski, who played 35, really got off to a hot start. His 3-ball looks so much better. Once again, another great shooting night, 3 of 7 from deep. He's hitting them from deeper than he ever has. He's hitting them with less separation than he ever has off the dribble. His 3-point ball looks good. Also had an old school little float game today that we saw. And if he can consistently develop a pull-up jumper, has a floater in his bag, has a hook shot if he needs to go to it, and can hit deep threes, we're looking at a pretty damn good young player.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Podziemski you wanted to see after last year, right? And I really think the mask screwed him up. I know it's a weird, easy cop-out, I guess. But he was a totally different and much less interesting player when he was wearing that dumb mask. It's funny because the opposite seems to have happened with Gary Payton, right?
Yeah,
like he put on the mask and he can't miss from 3-point range. But Brandin has looked so much more comfortable when he got rid of that mask. And since he came back from his latest injury, he just looks awesome. And again, like, he wasn't perfect tonight either. Nobody totally had it, but he's a guy who makes a lot of winning plays. There's just so many smart players on this team who can affect the game in lots of different ways.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to the makeup, to the front office, to Dunleavy, to Kerr, to a little bit of everything, that they've always been able to, for the most part, get in players that are anti-ball stoppers for the most part, right?
Hey, somebody give Bob some bleeping credit, all right? It's Bob Myers too, baby. Let's go.
He's not here right now. You know, he's in the studio with Perk and Malika, but yes.
But
amen.
he set the
trickles
tone.
down.
He set the tone for building this sort of team where intelligence is a priority.
And trickle-down effect is real, right? You inherit that, and that never goes away. Final thoughts, Warriors getting into a stretch with Atlanta coming up. The Pelicans are on this 4-game stretch. What are your final thoughts leading into what could be an opportunity to really put together a nice little winning streak here before the meat of the schedule picks up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my real final thought is just, whatever you need to do, your superstitions, your prayers, your thoughts with Steph Curry, because that's the guy. Got to have him healthy.
Sounds like all is well. All will be well. Just one more precautionary test, an MRI, and we'll see what happens. What happened tonight? Warriors win 117-114. They improved to 23-14 at home on the season, and they are once again 12 games over 500 at 41-29. Celebrated Dubs win. For Matt Kolsky, Chuck Walter, this is Locked On Warriors. You can find us wherever you get your audio podcasts and on YouTube. We'll see ya.